We're talking with Matt Barry, the Bruins Benders podcast, NHL trade deadline March 7th. Pretty simple here. What is the best trade chip the Bruins have?
I think that I would go about seeing what you can get for Marchand, Carlo, possibly Coyle, certainly Frederick. And if you're not re-signing Geeky, I would throw him in there too. And I would start right there with those. I would call about those guys all over the league and see what they feel about them. And I think you play your cards right here. You can retool kind of on the fly.
Yeah.
If you do it right, like if you get some young players, young prospects, something like that, and then you really, you could turn this over pretty quickly, but you still have Potter and Lowry, hopefully getting a little bit better next year, taking on bigger roles, so maybe you have your goalie. So maybe you have a great goal scorer and you have a high-end defenseman. So, I mean, you have 3 really important pieces. So I think you can retool a little quicker than people might think if you really take a hard look at those guys and really be willing to move on from them.
I think the Marchand one is really interesting. I've talked about it a few times here on the show. I think it's, I don't want to say a no-brainer because you don't know what the return is, but what do you think they can get for someone like Marchand, a guy who's, won a cup, he can still play special teams, he's got his 20th goal, like he can provide some real depth for a contender, I think. What do you think that can net the Bruins?
Well, I agree with some of the sentiments I've heard that it's a young player, a first and a third, probably what you're looking at. And a young player like Callum Ritchie at Colorado or Marco Rossi at the Minnesota Wild. Maybe you can pluck Jason Robertson from Dallas. I don't know.
Cool.
Like, who knows? I mean, but I think you can still get a decent amount from Marchand because he has a playoff pedigree. Mm-hmm. He has a cup. He was a very, very good player in that cup run, and he's been a good player in the playoffs and would be re-energized. I think you could get a lot of mileage out of Marchand for the next year. And if you can even re-sign him after that, if he goes to Colorado, he might sign the next couple of years to be with McKinnon, his Nova Scotia buddy. So that could be something that lures a little bit more return because you can re-sign the guy. So, my whole thing is if you are not going to resign him, or if you're wide apart, then you cannot afford to have him walk at the end of the season. Like,
this is as high as his value is probably going to be the rest of his career.
I'm listening to people who say, "Oh, you just got to let Marchand play out. He deserves to play it out." No, he doesn't. No, like he was a really great player. Might go down as top 5 ever. Like he's certainly up there in points and games played and all that. So he's a Wayne Cashman circa 2024 kind of guy. So yes, that's great. So I don't know. I mean, at this point, if you're not going to resign him, or if you think it's going to be, there's other people saying, well, give him $2 million for a year, or give him, a Bergeron thing. I'm telling you right now on this program that he is not going to take a massive hometown discount. He's not, because he just watched David Pastrnak get market value, Charlie McAvoy get market value, Jeremy Swayman set the market. So there's no hometown discounts anymore, folks. And he was a little irked at that whole situation, too. So, no, he's not taking anything less than he's making now, I don't believe. So if you're not willing to do that, then you need to trade him.
So that should make things simple for the Bruins, because I'm sure they've had talks. Like, I'm sure they know what the numbers are from Marchand's camp. Like,
there was a report today from Greg Hill on the Greg Hill show on EEI that, and he's a very close friend of Cam Neely. And he said that Don Sweeney and Brad Marchand met one-on-one for a lengthy meeting yesterday or whatever at the tournament. So in his comments, Marchand were not, that would be sad, or that's impossible. I could never imagine that would be weird.
Mm-hmm. Haven't thought about it.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Just didn't give any type of indication it was going to happen.
Right.
I think it's going to happen. I really do. And I am sticking with it. Like, I believe that they're setting see, the Bruins have this knack of throwing stuff out in the media, like they did with Rich Keefe and like they're doing with Greg Hill. They throw things out there to see what happens, to see how people react.
Yep. Just
And
check the temperature.
so that's not coming from some Bruins intern or someone's buddy who thinks so. Those people are getting the information from the source. So if someone like Cam Neely is having a beer with Greg Hill and says, you know what, Greg, we're talking to Marchand, it's a real possibility. I don't want you to say that, but I want you to say that we've met during this tournament. Okay. And then they say it. So I think there's legs to it. And I really believe it's going to happen. And I think they're starting to lay the groundwork on it.
And the more I hear things like that, the more I feel like it could be a situation where they've got a number worked out for an extension, so to speak. And they say, hey, but we can trade, like, give me 4 teams. Give me 4 teams, 5 teams maybe that you would want to go to. We'll work something out. And if you want, we'll bring you back in the summer. You're still a free agent in the summer.
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
It just feels like that's, and if he doesn't want to, again, it stinks in terms of a legacy thing, but the guy's 36. You're going to need to retool / rebuild anyway. Like, it's not the worst thing to happen to you if he doesn't come back. I love Marchand. I would want him to be back, but yeah, you totally understand him not. And honestly, dude, if Dallas is going to give you Jason Robertson, I'd give you Marchand and Carlo.
Yeah.
You'd be like, oh, you missed Miro Heiskanen? Here's the exact opposite on the defense core. Why don't you take him?
Yeah.
Like, it's just, I would totally take that.
I would 100% do that.
And I have to agree in that Marchand has to be the best trade chip. Like, these other guys, you kind of have to get rid of.
You have. Like, he is an asset you didn't think you'd have.
Yeah.
That you have now.
Geeky kind of
turned into your best.
Yeah.
So I'm telling you, if they screw this up, like, this is the one chance for them to quicken up the retool. I don't know if Marchand rental is going to get you as much as you think, but Marchand with an eye on, I would let him go resign. You know, I wouldn't pursue him any longer because of what you said. Like, they're not going to win the cup the next 2 years.
Right.
You know, the only thing he'll be playing for is his legacy and up the numbers on the list and get his number in the rafters, which is probably going to be there already. Yeah. So, you know, I just believe that now, you know, that they're going to move on from him. That 7 games isn't enough. There's only 7 games between now and the deadline. That's not enough to really indicate if you're in or out. Right now, moneypuck.com says you're 15% in. That's not enough. Like, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, there's nothing you're going to see in 7 games that you're going to be like, nope, we gotta hold on to Marchand, Coyle, Brazo and Carlo because we can't afford to do this run without them. Like, you can't live like that. And I wouldn't be surprised if these moves start coming here pretty quick for the Bruins. So
I think so too.
Good. Yeah. All right. So after that report, then gun to your foot here. Are they going to trade Marchand?
Marchand I'm gonna go on a limb right now and say Marchand to Colorado.
Okay.
For something like Richie or first and a third. And then Marchand finishes his career with the Colorado Avalanche, a la Ray Bork.
And gets his numbers in the rafters there,
like
Ray Bork.
Number in the yeah, he'll 63, 37, and 33 are going to be up there. And the only reason why definitely. 40 wouldn't go up there is because they don't have, they're not. I don't know. They just don't. I don't know if they consider that position worthy or whatever, but. I think 40 should be up there too, but then you start to get into what about Thomas? And,
people will always remember Thomas more fondly
because he won.
Yeah, and the way that he won, you know what I mean? He carried them in that.
If Rask won in 2013 or 19, then there would be no question. It would be a complete slam dunk. So for that reason, I think it's BS. I think that he is the best. And if you're relying on because he didn't win Game 6 or Game 7 against Chicago or St. Louis, then that's just short-sighted. I don't buy that. I don't think he needs the cup. He is a tremendous player.
And he was awesome in both those postseasons leading up to it, lest we forget. That conference finals against Pittsburgh was absolutely legendary. They only give up 2 goals in 4 games. That's a look at the Bruins trade deadline. I know the Bruins are off right now, obviously, but you guys, you get the break from the post game. but you did have a show going out today. Let people know where they can find it, what you guys are talking about, all that great stuff.
Sure. We were on Inside the Rink YouTube channel. We're not doing the post games because there are none. So we did a live episode last night. We're doing another one on Wednesday, the 19th, 9:30 Eastern on the YouTube channel. And then we'll get back to doing post games on the 22nd after the Anaheim game. And we've done the post games all year long. They've been great, well attended. You can get in the fan comments section. We'll talk about it on air. It's like a big live Bruins chat room.
Yeah,
and it's really cool that way. And so that's what we do the rest of the year. So Wednesday night we record, usually drops Thursday morning all over the platforms, and also on YouTube, of course. And we'd love to see people there live. We have a good group.
And I missed the Beanpot Championship live post game from Bruins Benders. I must have just missed that one.
Matt Barrett, I'll tell you what, we're both BU guys. Like we both love BU. We've been to BU games as kids. Like we love them. It was a great tournament. And I'll tell you, Hockey East is like a breeding ground for NHL, high-end NHL players. It's really changed over the years, and it's great for this area of New England to see really great future players at the local colleges. It's great.
Best hockey that'll be played in that barn all season long. And I'm telling you, look back at those rosters in 5 years and be like, shit, man. It's an all-star team right there.
Oh, my goodness.
We are Rogue Media Sports.
Hey, thanks for stopping by. And if you like this video, be sure to give us a like and subscribe. It really helps out the channel a ton. You can follow me on Twitter here for some more outrageous Boston sports takes coming to you every weekday at noon Eastern time. And then after that, wherever you get your podcasts.
We are Rogue Media Sports.